Yeah, we are.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the live. See a few of you out there. Okay. Hi, my name is Tanya. I'm a student in SP Gen. I'm in my final year currently, studying in Sydney, majoring in finance. I'm going to be moderating and hosting this event along with Ishita, who is also a final year BBA finance student. So we've basically organized this event as Girl Up Sydney, which is a student-led local chapter at SP Gen of a Girl Up UN initiative. So to briefly introduce Girl Up was originally founded by the UN Foundation with the purpose of supporting UN agencies that focus on expanding opportunities for girls all around the world. The efforts of Girl Up clubs across the world, and there are more than 4,000 in over 125 countries, have helped girls in developing countries gain equality in education, in health, as well as helping them improve their social and economic opportunities. Our mission for the Girl Up Sydney chapter at SPGen is to do our bit to promote gender equality and empower women and girls in our community. Before we get to the talk today, just to let you guys know, we will be having a Q&A session at the end, so feel free to drop questions in the LinkedIn chat.
Okay, so today we have with us a very special guest, Julie Biot. She's the founder of Gurvi Movement, and it's an incredible venture that was started with the aim to empower and support women in tech industry. And she herself has had a long career in the tech industry with UX design herself. And without taking more time, I would leave it to Julie to introduce herself further.
Hello, hi guys. Thanks for having me today. So I'm Julie. I just would like to know if you can see my screen, just to make sure I have a presentation for you. Can you see it? Or not?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So let me know if you can hear me fine, if you can see me. So I'm Julie, I'm an entrepreneur and mentor, and I've been working in the technology industry for the last 10 years as a UX designer. So as you can tell, probably I'm from France, from my accent, and actually started my international career in Australia. Then I moved to New Zealand as well as a UX designer. And I worked in IT companies in Latin America, Mexico, and Argentina. So I worked, I had big clients like Facebook, HSBC, Coca-Cola, Pfizer. And at the moment, I'm actually a digital nomad and as well as an entrepreneur. So I combine work and travel, and I love to travel. So I travel over 40 countries for the last 8 years. So that's basically. So do you have a question for me?
Yeah. So I guess the first question I want to ask is, how did you get started in your career in tech, working in UX design? And since most of our audience comes from a business background, I'd ask if you could maybe explain a bit about what UX design entails.
Okay, so I started my career in tech 10 years ago, as I said, in a startup in France. I was actually studying and working at the same time. So I started very early in the startup, and I stayed there for 2.5 years. So I started as a visual designer, and now my career evolved actually as a UX designer. So it's really about studying the audience, studying the market, studying the business goals, and create some digital product to reply to the problems that the user might have. So it's about really understanding the users and designing the best digital experience for them. So I started as a visual designer, and now I'm a UX designer, as I say. So the difference is, so the visual designer is more about the color, the typography, the layout, call to action, etc. And UX designer is actually about the usability. So just making sure that the user can use very well the product, accessibility, data-driven design as well. So we're not just making something pretty. We just we're checking the competition, the data, interviewing a lot of users, and make sure that the product is actually useful for the users in the market.
Right. Thank you so much for that. Julie, one question was that how did you come up with the ideas? What was that eureka moment when you actually decided to start up your own venture, Gurvi Movement? And how did you go from a corporate life to starting your own? Because it's a risky thing, right? And for a person with no business background, how did you come up with that?
Well, so here you can see really the journey. So as I said, started in a startup in France as a visual designer. So I had basically everything my parents wanted from me to get like a permanent job in a nice city. I had my flat, I had my relationship, everything was perfect. And then I decided that actually wasn't enough for me, that I wanted something else and I wanted to travel. To learn English. I didn't know any English at this moment when I moved to Australia. So I wanted something new. So I just booked my tickets. Well, it's quite far. It's like 24 hours flights. So I landed to the Gold Coast and I started there to learn English, do more freelance. So I started my freelance kind of career there. And then my visa ended. So I basically did all my trips with a working holiday visa. So that allows you to work and travel for 1 year in the country. So after 1 year in Australia, on the Gold Coast and Sydney, I actually moved to New Zealand where I could I could have one other visa for 1 year in Auckland. And there I worked in Pfizer, which is in fintech. So I was UX designer there, visual designer as well. In the innovation team. So we were creating a lot of new products, innovative product there. I really loved the job. I really loved working in a very, very big company. So it's actually an American company. We were like 300 in the office in Auckland. And I don't know, if it's probably 20,000 over the world, something like that. So I really love working with a lot of different nationalities and in very big office. So that was amazing. And then I guess I was in my comfort zone. I got the permanent residency in New Zealand. I knew to speak English well enough. So I decided to actually move to Argentina. And there I didn't know anyone again. I didn't know to speak Spanish. And I found a job, which is in Buenos Aires there. And I worked for Facebook in different IT companies, and I worked for another company in New York. And then, there was some crisis actually in Argentina, big economic crisis. So actually, I was working for such a big company, which was Facebook, but yeah, so that was actually the client of my company. And every month, I was basically losing 20% of my salary. So that's how really I started working on more freelance projects. So that's really like a challenge I got in my career that led me to an opportunity to actually start freelancing.
So what would you say are the challenges you faced along this journey, and how did you tackle them, I guess, would be my...
Okay, so that was the first one, I guess. So in Argentina, the big challenge of actually really not having economic difficulties, but I was thinking that my work wasn't rewarded enough. So that's why I decided to actually move out of Argentina, even if I loved it. I totally loved the experience, the country. It was really amazing. So I decided to move to Mexico. So there I stayed 2 years. I just moved out of Mexico 2 months ago, I think. And then I was still freelancing. I had some clients, but I wanted to meet new people. So I came back to the corporate world, and I got a job in a company where I was designing HSBC, an application for HSBC Mexico, so which is quite a big project. But actually, the pace was too slow for me, too much politics, in finance, and I was quite slow. So it was quite frustrating for me. I had the time to do some freelance. I had the time to go to work. The amazing point is actually working in a very big company and make a lot of friends and with your colleagues and workmates. But as well, one big point for me, I didn't have enough vacation. So I don't know how it is in Australia or in Singapore or wherever you are, but in France it's 5 weeks vacation. And in New Zealand, that was 4 weeks. And then in Argentina, that was 2 weeks. And now I came in Mexico and there was only 1 week vacation. And as I love actually traveling around, I just quit the job. So there was a lot of challenges here that really pushed me to get out the corporate world.
Right. Okay. So as you spoke about, the corporate world and you face challenges relating to the industry. So what was your experience like as a woman in STEM industry, which is still pretty where women are very underrepresented still, So what was your experience like? Did you face any hardships being a woman?
Oh yeah. Yes, that's actually why I started my project. Well, now that you got to know me a little better, so what are my, let's say, well, last year I went to travel in Guatemala on my own. So as I said, I quit my job, so I had more time to actually travel. So I went 3 weeks in Guatemala on my own. And I really took the time to brainstorm on what I wanted to do, what was my purpose, who I was. So I really started, brainstorm there. So I tried to find 5 adjectives that would define me. So there was like travel, obviously design, because I'm a designer, freedom, feminism, someone independent. So that's how I actually imagined the project. And as well, I just took, I just observed a lot of things during my career. So a lot of sexism everywhere, not just in tech, but here you've got some data, you've got 25% of the workforce in the digital industry are actually women. So that's really not a lot. I was working as a designer, so you have a lot of designers there. But when it comes to the leadership position or the more technical position, is mostly men. And this applied to Australia, to France, to Latin America, to everywhere I went. As well as mansplaining, or when people actually interrupting you in meetings. So actually, I didn't want to just build this project just only on my own impression. So I conducted a survey and asked to my workmates, or to my network actually, some questions about this issue. And they told me, for example, one of my biggest challenge is being heard literally in a room of male voices. And she's a director. She was a director in this company. So in my previous company, I didn't get promoted when it should have happened. When I tried to negotiate, I was shut up. This is a big one, to actually being stuck in promotion. That happened to me. I wanted to go to a senior position. They just told me that they didn't want me to be senior, that they would keep me in junior. So I was like, okay. So again, I quit. Actually, I quit the show. I quit a lot of jobs when I wasn't really happy about it. Or another one, being treated like you're inferior, or you don't know what you're talking about. So you have to justify absolutely everything. But if a male suggests the same thing, then it's the best idea in the world. So I've got tons and tons and tons of feedback like that. And as well, so you can see there's another representation of women in minorities in leadership position. Minority of women in tech roles, sexist remarks and sexual harassment. So I had that as well. Boys club culture, totally. difficulty in getting a promotion or achieve progress in my career. That happened as well to me, and a lower salary than men in the same position. So that's more or less the observation and the problem I could notice during my career, as well as some stats that I got as well there.
So, I mean, it is clear from these statistics, from your observations, from your own experience, that this is an issue, that there are clearly barriers for women, and there's clearly underrepresentation of women in STEM. I mean, they make up such a small proportion of women in the digital industries. So what would you say the barriers are to entry and to success that limit this representation of women?
Well, it's actually the representation. When you see the big GAFAs, Facebook, Apple, Google, well, that's all men that actually are the boss there. And at the moment, I notice as well that a lot of products have been designed by men, so it's not as usable for women. So yes, probably the representation, and then when you are finally in the tech industry, well, my impression is that you're not taken too seriously, or all this bro culture as well is very strong, the geek culture. So and as well the difficulty to get more leadership position is a big problem. So it should start from university as well to get more women in the development or technical industry. But when you don't see a woman in a leadership position, maybe you don't feel that this field is for you.
Right. So Julie, going back to your experience and what all hardships you faced in corporate world, you've also worked in different countries, so from developing to developed. So were these challenges as grave as you face in a developing country as compared to developed countries? And are there any policies that are, we obviously know about workplace policies, but are they really effective when it comes to, inequality and sexism faced by women in corporates?
Well, I think in my case, that was everywhere, because anyway, my workmates were from everywhere around the world, but then you have different type of sexism. Well, in Mexico and Argentina, for example, they're more like, I don't know, like the romantic sexism. I don't know if this is a good thing or bad thing, but no, everywhere I actually noticed it, because it was such a international crowd. So and then as women as well, we have to deconstruct kind of our vision of things as well. There's not just only men to do the work, but we have to deconstruct a lot of of things.
Mm-hmm. All right. And moving on to the next one. So would you like to share any stories? So I remember we had this talk previously about Gurvi Movement, and you were facing some challenges, relating to your venture. So do you have any stories to share, which you think would be relevant for our viewers?
Many stories. So when I came back actually from Guatemala, so I decided to start my project. I was like, okay, I now have the ideas, I just need to leverage that. And then what happened? Well, as we know, COVID. So I've been stuck at home for 1 year, I think, in Mexico. So it's really changed my routine. I had so much time. So I cannot say I don't have time. I had so much time to actually create my business. So no excuses there. So I had the time to create the website. So I did everything on my own. I created the website. I wrote my blog. I did all the marketing, SEO, content writing, sales, social media, like create the structure legally as well. I had a lot of friends, and I had a mentor that's actually been helping me in everything. So I took a lot of courses, I did a lot of tutorials, and so that's how I had the time and the energy to do all of that. And in terms of challenge as well, I had a lot, because when you do this on your own, it's actually quite difficult. And yeah, so my latest challenge was to actually lose my Instagram account that I was growing for the last 8 months, 9 months. So yeah, so yeah, this is quite difficult. So it's not easy every day, and actually, well, with the COVID, it doesn't help here. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
Instagram.
then,
Yeah, Tanya, for you, take over.
sorry, Ashita. So then, do you have any advice for budding entrepreneurs on how you turn those challenges into opportunities? Which is something I know that you believe in a lot.
To turn challenges into opportunities, well, so I guess you need to come back with a lot of, well, I don't know, with a lot of imagination. So for example, with this Instagram thing happened to me, I just imagine, well, okay, what I'm going to do. Okay, so maybe I should go there and I should do this. So I just imagine a totally different scenario of a new life or something, a new travel or everything. I don't know how I come up with some new ideas like that, but I think you always need, obviously you're going to feel sad that you don't have this promotion, you're going to feel unhappy that you lose your Instagram account. But for example, when I didn't get that promotion that I really wanted in New Zealand, in this company I really loved, they didn't give it to me. And then I just searched for a new job, and they actually gave me a 30% pay raise. They gave me a permanent visa. They gave me everything. So I was like, okay, if something bad didn't happen to me, if I didn't get this challenge, maybe I would stay in this company and I wouldn't have this big promotion. I wouldn't have my visa. So it's actually, I just take it. I just welcome the challenges in my life. I'm not saying it's easy, but and always I have something better actually on my way. So I just try to stay positive about the challenges.
Yeah. So at hindsight, when you look, everything falls into place. But
Yeah.
at this threshold, so I know a lot of us will be graduating in a few months, and a lot of us will be graduating in the next year. And in a lot of economies, things are starting to improve with the COVID situation, and a lot of economies are still pretty stagnant. So, would you have any advice? Do you have any advice for the graduates at this point who are struggling with jobs and they're stressed, and they just want to make it through and not let these years go in waste, the years they've studied? So any advice for such people?
Oh, well, you have always something to learn, like for sure. So I will actually advise to do like I did, not to go to Guatemala to do a brainstorming, but to actually brainstorm and ask yourself, okay, who am I? What do I like? What are my values? What is my mission? And try to get some adjectives like that, and to be like, okay, so if I want to, for example, create a business of mentorship for women intake and be an advocate for digital nomad, so all the adjectives, so that's what I would do. So then I just imagine, okay, I would need a website. So how do I create my website? I actually need some SEO to rank my website. So I need to do some courses to do that. I don't know. If you want to do content writing, just take some courses. Again, not that that's my business, but you definitely need a mentor. I think someone coaching you. So if you have any doubts about what you should do, just get someone to help you in your journey. And as well, what I was doing a lot when I was in Mexico is to get let's say like-minded people or friends. You just organize one meeting every week, and you just work on your project, and you just showcase your project to your friends, just to get some support. Obviously, it's all remote, but this is very important because you kind of create some deadlines. So yeah, in terms of finding a job, well, I guess you need to just make a list of all your skills, and then you have a lot of platforms, actually freelance platforms, to sell your services. So that could be, I don't know, in online business. Well, that could be translation, that could be teaching, I don't know, teaching French, teaching English to some other people. So I guess, yeah, just make a list of all the services that you could sell. And if you don't think you have any skills, well, just watch some tutorials, watch some online courses, get a mentor. That would be my advice.
Thank you.
I think it's so true. Mentorship can be such an important part of like just what success looks like, whether that's in your career or as a startup. And I think this is definitely like one of the barriers that women face, is that it's a struggle to find mentors as a woman, especially women mentors.
Yeah, so that's exactly why I wanted to do this project, because all my mentors were actually men. Mm-hmm. And some of them were not good mentors, really bad. So I couldn't even trust them. I'm talking in my career, because in big companies, they actually assign you a mentor that you don't even select yourself. And some of them were really bad. I was feeling very uncomfortable with them. So I didn't really feel like sharing anything with them. So if you can find a mentor, woman that have the same experience than you, or you can identify actually to her, and she can actually guide you. She can guide you with in your career. So here, for example, I put like learn from the experience of the mentor. As well, she can understand while you struggle, because she probably had the same struggle. So get encouragement and support from her. And as well, someone that could help you to break the glass ceiling, something that maybe a man cannot understand because he doesn't have the same challenges. And as well, obtain professional connection is important.
Exactly. And I also feel like mentorship is definitely mentor guiding the mentee, but at the same time, it is a two-way learning process, because there are new challenges faced every day. And, the mentor is experienced, but there are new challenges that's been thrown at everyone. So mentor learns as well. So having said that, have you faced, through your mentorship, have you faced such things, such learnings?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
So the question is that, while you're mentoring people, you get to learn a lot more new things, probably new challenges being faced by people. So have you learned any new such things?
Yeah, actually, I learned some new tools that are in the market, or they come back with you new strategy, and I really love it, because sometimes after maybe 2 or 3 hours of chat with the student, for example, she got like a job interview straight away, like 1, 2, 3 job interviews. I really feel like proud and everything. So again, and I always ask as well for some feedback after the mentorship session, so they can give me their feedback and how I can improve, as well as a person, as a mentor. So yeah, you learn a lot always.
Mm-hmm.
So I also wanted to ask, I know that like a big part of the mission for Gurvi Movement is like just increasing and supporting diversity and inclusivity in tech specifically, but also in leadership in general. Could you maybe talk a bit about why you think that's important, what the benefits are, even for companies?
Oh yeah, so the benefits are to actually design some products that in my case, because I'm a designer, but even if you're a developer, or in case in technology, so you can see that some products are not really appropriate or like designed for women. So for example, you have very good example of the seat belts. So it's been designed for maybe a man of 80 kilos, 170, maybe not 80 kilos, but 170 centimeters, sorry. And actually, that wasn't really protecting women. So actually, a lot of women died in the process of the seatbelt, because that wasn't conceived for them, designed for them. So that this is good to get diversity. So you get different perspectives. So even like, I mean, like even in my personal life, when I receive a lot of different perspectives from different countries, from different cultures, so it just makes you richer, and you can understand many more things from different perspectives. So this is really important.
That is so true. Actually, learning about new culture, new people is really true. It's really important in this world, especially because I have met people who haven't moved from one country and who haven't met people, and it is surprising to actually, understand that they don't understand people out of their own, broad social groups. So yeah. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about was that today it is so relevant for females, especially, to be financially independent. And apart from jobs, do you have any other tips for our viewers on financial independence and how to gain that?
Okay, so I've been financially independent when I was 20 years old. I actually left home when I was 15 to go to school and to learn about art and everything. So I learned, yeah, I quit my home, or left my home, sorry, very early. And I think this is very important to be financially independent, because you can actually do whatever you want without asking any permission to anyone. So I started to be financially independent because I really wanted to work straight away. I didn't want to, well, I wanted to study more, but I wanted to work. So that's why I got this university program where you can work for 6 months and then study for 6 months. So I've been straight away in the market, and I think that's probably the best way as well to learn, because you're straight away in the startup. So, and then, well, I don't know what I did actually to get a job 3 weeks in Australia without speaking a word of English. You just need to go and don't be scared of rejection. I've been rejected many times. Just go to the interviews without speaking anything. Yeah, you just go for it and you learn. You learn from the process anyway. So.
Right. Yeah. The process is the key.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Julie, for that. Tanya, do you have any further questions?
No, I think there are a couple of questions in the live chat. So should we get to those?
Yeah. If you can pull those out, thank you.
Yeah. So we have a question from Patricia. She was asking that, we see the increase of like really progressive campaigns that are targeted to cater to newer generations and audiences. But a common criticism is that they're usually patronizing to women, to people of color, indigenous peoples, etc. So how do you address this when you encounter it, and what can you say about this trend that could potentially be harmful?
Well, so what would I say? Well, I guess we need more person from diverse background to actually create these campaigns. So include more people, so they can actually they can give their perspective on why this is not a good campaign, why this is sexist, or why this is harmful for the community. So yeah. Probably again that's the same problem. Probably getting more people in the team from diverse perspective.
Right. So there's a question from Kavya. She would like to ask, when the girl students here pass out of college and enter the job world, what are some things we should keep in mind about handling gender bias at work?
For having, sorry?
So I'll repeat the question. So she wants to ask if when the girl students, basically the females here, pass out of college and enter the job world, what are some things we should keep in mind about handling gender bias at work?
Okay. So I guess you need I think you need to ask for more always. To ask for more, even if you're not very confident, and maybe to read about the imposter syndrome, just to get a little more education about that. Read some articles, and yeah, to make sure that actually when you talk, people are respecting your. Are listening to you. If they don't really listen to you, just ask for some support from your workmates or from the leadership position. Try to get a mentor that you trust as well in your job.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone is actually, if you see any bad situation, just talk about it as well. That's what I've done. Yeah, most of the. For example, in Mexico, my workmates were calling me sisterhood because I noticed that a woman was talking badly about another woman, and I was like in front of boys just to make her feel special. And I was like, actually, you know what? We need to be supportive. We need to have a sisterhood. So that was actually my nickname at work. To try to support the woman and raise your voice if you see something that's actually wrong.
Yeah. No, that's very true. But that also brings me to this question. I'm so sorry. But the fact that we can raise our voices and we should, and that's what we learn. But when it actually comes to the situation, when it actually comes to that problem, some people are obviously hesitant because you might be frowned upon. So it's like the situation that whistleblowers face. But for us, it's a lot more because we're also women. Being in that organization and actually raising voice for something that's not right. And being a woman, obviously, we will probably face the repercussions more. So yeah, it's like a vicious circle. Any other questions, Tanya?
Yeah, just speaking about, so I wanted to ask, like, what are things that we can do? What is the work that we can do to contribute to increasing inclusivity, to increasing diversity in the workplace, in our lives? I think definitely speaking up when you see something wrong, that's definitely one thing. But like, is there anything else, any other advice you might have?
I probably educate people about the issue because a lot of people are actually not aware of this. Most of the men I'm talking to, they're like, really? I'm like, yes, this is happening. This is how we feel. And this is the situation. So I'm actually buying myself, I'm just buying some books to people so I can educate them about the issue. And I just keep talking and just share my experience and how I feel. I think this is important so they can relate and they can understand there is a problem.
All right.
I think I definitely see your point about like importance of educating people, because I think there's really a gap in terms of like understanding about the existence of these issues. Like I remember reading about this, I think it was a New York Times survey a couple of years back, where 56% of the men surveyed said they thought sexism was over.
That's why actually I'm writing this blog. So I started to write my blog on my own. So for example, I worked why diversity and inclusion in tech is important. I worked about my experience as a digital nomad, but now I am opening the blog to other women so that they can talk about what they want to talk about. And so this is really a safe space for them to share their experiences and how they feel. I'm not saying that I agree 100% of what they're talking about, on what that is, but actually that there's just a safe space for them to share their ideas and their experience. I think this is very important. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Julie, for this. This has been incredible, and we got to learn so much more from your experience, as you said. And thank you for taking our time for us. I know it's a bit odd. We are in Sydney ourselves, and it's almost it's 5 a.m. So I don't know if I should start my morning now or end it. But thank you so much for taking time out, and thank you to our viewers who joined us today. It's been incredible. Thank you.
All right, thank you so
And
much.
yeah,
Thanks for
thank
having me.
you.
And I just wanted to take a picture before we go. Well, I was
Oh,
thinking
yeah.
everybody would be there, but we can just share it on the social. And yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I hope that inspired some people in the audience, and that yeah, if they want to become an entrepreneur or actually travel. So yeah, I hope they are inspired that they can actually do it, and coming from every background and every country.
Right. Thank you so much for this. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.